Welcome, Banter Bros disciples, to another episode of B&B Banter Bros Goes to the Movies.
Dun dun dun.
Na, na, na. We are an internet podcast that talk about movies, and tonight we're going to be talking about romance movies. With me, always, with some hilarious suggestions and very hilarious looking faces, would be my Minion 0, Minion 1.
Ooh, we get to choose which. I'm 0.
That's right.
Called it.
Nailed it.
Because he's worth nothing.
He hasn't earned a number yet.
Yeah, you gotta work for that.
This beautiful. This face looks like it doesn't even exist.
Some people wish it was. It didn't, but...
In binary code, the 1 is more important than the 0.
Oh, don't give him that kind of hope. So, we, in this new season of ours, season 3, this is basically our first official episode, but we are going to start to do our Marvel theme. So basically, every episode we're going to be talking about the Marvel theme, or Marvel films, as the world knows they're being fucking coming out like left and right.
Churning out.
Yeah. And but they're fucking awesome. They're doing a great job.
Yep.
And they're one of the biggest things on the planet right now. Everybody wants to watch them. Everybody does watch them. Everybody wants to be in them. So
For sure.
why not talk about it? But we are going to start chronologically through the phases. So we're going to start with Iron Man and work our way through and kind of have a discussion.
And to be clear, we're going by release date, not the other thing.
Yeah.
Because we feel it opens up the discussion more. So.
Yep. And it kind of helps with us
Feel
talking
free to
about
comment if you disagree. Blah blah.
it. Right.
Blah.
Helps us talk about it as they unfold as well. Because maybe we might get caught up.
Well, and like
So.
it also ends up being able to say, "Oh, they did this in this movie to open up this thing down the line."
And
Absolutely.
And reading some facts about how Iron Man got made and what they went through, it kind of seems like they only got to make certain movies because of how well the previous movies did. They were still gambling in the early days. Like you said last episode, they rule the world now. They do whatever they want. They're fucking fully in charge.
Yep.
The Phage, is that his name?
Feige.
Feige.
The
I call him
Phage.
Phage.
The
I call him
Phage.
Phage. I won't.
The
I really just call him
Phage.
Feige.
The Fosh, calling him. He runs the world now, but back in the day he did not. So at least like the first 10 movies, they came out because they were like, this is the most
They're
entertaining.
succeeding.
So
and, well, let's make another one. Oh, this succeeded. So yeah.
Yeah.
They just didn't have that power back in the day.
Back in the day, it was nobody really gave a shit about comic book movies. It was a couple of them made decent money, but like nobody really gave much of a shit about them.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they tried to do that in the early 2000s with like you had the Daredevil, you had 2003's Daredevil, you had the Punisher with Thomas Jane, you had Elektra.
Well,
and
then
then
we all Punisher earlier on in like the mid '90s with Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, we all wanted
flopped.
We all wanted comic book movies, but they were low budget. They were kind of hit or miss.
Yep.
They were doing poorly like video game movies, but not that consistently.
They were doing the ones that
there was very few that were good.
They were doing the ones you could do cheaply, so that you didn't have to like invest a ton of money.
Yeah, like Blade.
I was gonna say, and Blade was the first Marvel film. Like that was basically the first. That was you look. It's considered.
Howard the Duck is technically the first Marvel film, but
it wasn't.
But it wasn't a Marvel.
It's a Marvel film, but you're looking at it the wrong way.
I'm looking at it
associated with comic books.
So it's the credited as this is the Marvel film that started it all.
Yeah.
So they got the Marvel, because that was 90.
But I mean, most people wouldn't have even noticed that Blade was a comic book movie. Like most people would just be like, "Oh, this is a cool like concept." And nobody really knew. I don't think anyone really knew that Blade was a comic book when it came out. You might have, but you're a nerd.
No, I like it's one of those things where like I did, but honestly, like it was one of those things that didn't compare to like, it wasn't like something I was grasping onto. It's a live action comic book.
Yeah,
that's not.
And that's what I mean. Like it's especially those early days. Like it was the ones that like you could say, well, it's an original idea anyway. It's not like based on a comic book per se.
And I still think Blade holds up.
It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the first one at least. I don't know about the
I
second
like the
and third
first
one.
two. The third one's fine.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my
I
Ryan
understand
Reynolds.
the gripes, but if I'm gonna if I start one, I got to finish all three. I got to finish the story.
Yeah,
and it's not a bad grind.
Did anyone watch the show that they made?
I
Whoa.
I could not. Nope.
No.
It was
You
terrible.
made a series?
It was terrible.
I might
didn't
have,
watch
but
it at all.
I'm one to judge and be like, that's not going to do well.
I didn't
did
really
not.
And I can say I don't think it made it a full season, did it?
And that,
I don't recall.
and
I don't think I watched all of it. I think I watched the first episode. And I was like, nope.
that must have been a while ago. I assume.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
It was
But
after
things
the
are
third
different
one.
now. If they were to like TV series, like right now, I don't care about Lord of the Rings for them to make a TV show, but Amazon Prime's coming out with Lord of the Rings like prequel.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I mean, back in the day, I would have been like, go fuck yourself. But nowadays, I'm like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Like
This
TV's
is
capable of anything. What?
This is definitely the crowning time of the nerd.
It
as
is.
far as like between fantasy novels being turned into between the Wheel of Time, Game of Thrones, fucking the Lord of the Rings series is coming out. There's numerous novels are being televised.
Yeah,
all
and
of a
these
sudden.
movies are up for Grammy nominations or whatever the award is. Like they've never been looked at as award-winning films, and now they're in that spectrum.
It's because studios are at more of a higher demand now, even though they're just taking what unoriginal concepts, but there's more possibilities because you have those independent studios along with major studios.
Yeah.
And it's a whole streaming thing. People are going to watch it.
Mhm.
So they know that even if it's not going to be a big blockbuster hit, because they're not relying on the theaters anymore to make their money.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Well, especially the last couple of years with the pandemic. I mean,
yeah, that's
they've
how it
definitely had to augment their thought process on how they were going to release stuff.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get moving on to this.
Iron Man.
Yeah, let's talk about Iron Man.
Aaron, when
Yeah.
the fuck did this come out?
This movie came out in, I believe Jason or Tim and I were talking. This came out in June of 2008.
No, May.
No, Incredible Hulk came out in May.
Oh, I thought you said it was the other way around.
No, it was odd that it was Incredible Hulk came out first.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it came out in June of 2008. It is directed, so it's starring Robert Downey Jr. Pretty obviously, if you haven't seen it yet. Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, and Jeff Bridges are probably the three biggest names in the movie.
Yeah. Really not a lot of actors in this movie.
Well,
really.
they're Terrence
John
Howard,
Favreau, yeah.
John Favreau.
They're
is Happy
background
Hogan.
characters, but when it comes to like front of the camera, a lot of lines type I noticed
Well,
today. like-
Rhodey has enough lines, but I mean,
Oh, yeah, Rhodey.
John Favreau, yeah, that's Terrence Howard.
Yep.
But yeah, Happy
Hustle
Hogan,
and Flow.
and this one doesn't have a lot of lines. He has a
In
couple.
fairness, he really hasn't throughout the thing. His role has been pretty like in the back, but I think this is the one where he stays almost completely in the back.
Happy?
Yeah,
He gets a
his
little more
character,
shine.
Yeah, it gets
John?
more and more
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah,
Happy.
so John
Sorry.
Favreau, who plays Happy Hogan in the movie, is the director of the film.
Yeah.
It was written by three people here.
Yeah, I always thought John Favreau wrote it, and I was not. Right.
It's written by Mark Fergus, Hawk Ostby, and Art Markham, which are
All right,
two
well,
out of the three are great names. And I also have, hold on. I have the budget for the movie.
Yeah, this is what I'm curious about because this is 2008,
and
this is
they had a tight one.
I was like, this is a big budget film, but like, how big was it for this?
Not
Or-
as big as we're used to.
Production budget is listed at $186 million.
Still pretty. They still called it tight.
that's pretty
I
big.
guess.
But it's so
Yeah, but 80 million of that probably went to Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So worldwide, it made $585 million worldwide box office. Domestically, it made about 318, and tack on an additional 266 for international.
Do you know what the opening weekend was?
I can find it right
Because
now.
I was reading.
Opening weekend registered in at $102 million, so
See,
32% of total gross.
So yeah, it didn't make its money back an opening
But-
weekend.
But I was reading.
That's a lot still for
It
opening
is.
weekend.
So yeah, it didn't make its budget back in opening weekend, but yeah, it didn't really catch on right away. It was a slow burn.
I saw it when it came out.
Me too. Oh, fuck yeah.
Well, I don't know if I saw it when it came out, but I think I wanted to. But I mean, it's
And all I knew from the trailers was that guy was the right choice for Tony Stark, knowing the cartoons and more than the comics.
Exactly
Yeah.
what I said.
I
I don't even think I was like a huge fan of Robert Downey Jr. at the time either.
No,
it was just
this
He
was
was-
really the resurrection
comeback,
of his career.
yeah, it really was. Yeah.
Yeah, because he had all that.
He had the
And that's
cocaine
why.
problems and shit
Yep.
like that, right?
Yeah, some hooker stuff and stuff like that. But yeah, he was
Robert Downey Jr. stuff.
he was no child celebrity shit, or maybe teenager, maybe
Yeah,
not
he was
child.
very much a teenage
But
celebrity,
he
but
was
yeah.
young as fuck in those John Hughes movie. He was Rat Pack.
He was kind of on the outlier. He was like, he was
back
in
in
weird science and shit like that.
And back in the day, they treated actors like anything you want, we'll do your bidding, like cocaine and booze waiting for him in the fucking hotel room before he was even 18. So he treated like a god, basically. So it went to his head eventually, as it should too.
It's the idea that you become too famous, too young, and you're not
too much power, too young to
Look at Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his
thank God
fingernails
has turned his life around.
Yeah, and now he's. I don't know.
He had a kid.
No, I don't know, but now he's engaged to Disney star. Oh man, I don't remember her name. She's the Asian Disney star and Zack and Cody or whatever.
Her name's like London something or other in the show. I don't remember her name in real life, but I know
I should know her name because I think she's.
I don't care.
Changeland.
Yeah, she was in Changeland.
Yeah. I remember that too, but yeah, I don't remember her name.
For life of me, I can't remember her name either.
It's fine.
Anyways,
they're married, so
we digress.
I thought they just had a kid. I thought I read, but
no one cares about this guy. No, I was just kidding. We all love them. But
excuse the fuck out of me.
All that being said about Robert Downey Jr. is that's kind of why Jon Favreau and the Faj wanted to fucking pick him, Robert Downey Jr.
to help boost his career.
Yeah, because they were looking at Nicolas Cage. Wouldn't that have been?
Do we want to talk
different?
about Nicolas Cage almost being Superman?
Right. He even had a suit and everything.
I saw a picture of him in the suit and I was like,
Colin Farrell.
What the fuck?
Oh my god! So
Colin at least has a better feature.
He's got the build for it.
Yep, he's got the structure. He's got
I just picture Nicolas Cage like using the Con Air accent. Just fuck.
That's amazing.
Oh shit!
And Colin can do a decent American. He can do a really good American, but like at least he would have, I think, a better look to it. But
I would have loved to hear Tony Stark with an Irish accent, though.
Yeah.
How about this? The most famous is Tom Cruise.
Nope.
Too small.
too small. Too fucking weird.
Yeah, it doesn't work, right?
It
so obviously, we all agree that Robert was the best choice, and his background helped the geniuses choose him. But if Robert Downey Jr. wasn't going to take it, Sam Rockwell was the backup plan.
Which he did feature in it later.
That would have worked.
I don't know if his features would have worked, but his personality works.
He's not, in my opinion, that he is not. He's got the charisma, but he's not handsome enough.
Yeah.
He's not a playboy.
Yeah, that's exactly
he's not a
what
Aaron's
saying in different words, and I agree.
Yep, but he doesn't have the playboy
still would have
mentality.
been fine. If that's what we had to
I
deal with,
accepted that,
Rockwell would have pulled it off somehow, some way. Or they would have fucking paid Robert Downey Jr. more money. But yeah, this movie, tight budget, 180 or whatever, but they made this with the intention to sell toys, not build a fucking Marvel universe.
Really?
Yeah. So they He-Man this shit.
Yeah, I would say they went the He-Man route. Huh? Yeah. Interesting. I did not know
that was their only way. That was how they were gonna. That was their profit plan to keep their business suffice. It was like Sony or who fuck made this? Who put this out? It wasn't Disney.
Shit.
I think it was Sony.
I couldn't tell you.
Because it jumped around.
I will look that up. Hold on.
It jumped around. It was at New Line Cinema forever, but then expired, and then at New Line Cinema when it was there, the director of The Notebook had it in his hands and was gonna make this movie for a second.
Really? Interesting.
And then he chose not to because a flying suit didn't make sense. So obviously he wasn't the right guy.
Wow. Obviously he wasn't. He has
no concept of what the fuck the movie was about. It's like
apparently he knows more about diaries than he does comic books.
Right. And rapey dialogue from male people.
All right.
I'm sorry, Ryan Gosling in that movie. Oh, it is romantic month. It's very forceful.
He's very
go out with me. Say yes to my date offer. Otherwise, I'm gonna drop from this fucking roller. No, what are those Ferris wheels?
Ferris wheel, yeah.
And kill myself.
I would have.
That was the ultimatum he put her in while she was on a date.
I would have said, "Do it."
Right? It's funny. You can't get away with that shit nowadays.
Yeah, but you know what? They lasted until they died.
Iron Man is.
Until she couldn't remember him.
Until they died.
Did they die together?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that's the whole end of the movie.
I couldn't see that
they
far.
They die in their sleep together.
I can't see through my tears that point of the movie.
That's fair.
Iron Man was distributed by Paramount Pictures.
Okay.
Paramount. Okay, yeah, that's what it was.
Which actually,
because it jumped around
Kinda
from
makes
studio for a
yeah,
while.
so that definitely like tracks a little bit.
So getting into the movie now, we've gone through the details. We've gone through our little trivia. What's out of this movie? It was the first initial launch of, as we say, the phases.
The phases, yeah.
Which obviously back then it wasn't even really a thing.
Yes, but
it is now.
yes.
So, how did we feel about the character, the typecasting of this? Because one of the things I personally, I almost always want to doubt, but I have to trust Marvel to do what they got to do, because they seem to nail it, in my opinion, on whoever is going to play whoever. So we were just kind of doing the trivia. We were talking about the Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
How do we feel about the characters, at least the main characters that we see, for what we do know? Because I don't know shit about,
I wasn't an Iron
Much.
Man guy like for comics, so I don't know how they translate as far as characters go from there. Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, Gwyneth Paltrow seems to do a fine enough job as Pepper Potts.
Her job in this movie is to have that undertone love connection between him and her. Like, she loves him, but she's too smart to like throw herself out there. But she's like a assistant. She's the assistant.
She's basically his assistant.
But there's this no dialogue, I love you type of thing going on.
It's the classic romance trope.
And she comes from a lot of those movies. So for her to be cast there, I think was genius.
Okay. Obviously, I don't know if she's even a part of the comic book world, to be honest.
Pepper Potts, yeah. She's.
I mean, I know she is, but like, I don't know how prevalent she really is.
What little I know is she's very much like in the movies as well. Like, she becomes the love interest
and becomes a little
and
more
becomes
important.
very important to Tony.
Yeah.
Because
she becomes like Lady Iron Man or something.
I don't think I've ever really, truly invested myself into the Iron Man comics.
Right. Just the cartoons.
Well, comics or the cartoons, but he's always been in other comics that I've read. So like, I know Iron Man. I've always enjoyed Iron Man, but it's not because of his string of comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's always the Avengers, always whatever. So
yeah. As far as I know, Pepper Potts is very much prevalent throughout his life and his story. So
it worked out pretty well.
She's an important character.
I must agree. I think that Gwyneth Paltrow is actually quite fantastic as Pepper Potts.
As much as I dislike Gwyneth Paltrow, I can't argue with her performance.
But she has very few scenes, small dialogue, but every time she's in it, she does her job. It's like powerful. She does what she's there for 100%.
She's just supposed to be eye candy. That's it.
No. She's
I
not
wouldn't
that.
even give you that. I don't think she's
not,
that
but
attractive.
she's supposed
I think
to
her
be.
hair is ridiculous in this movie.
She's too skinny.
Yeah.
Let's do the main one. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man.
Perfect.
So
yeah, he knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
His arrogance, his snarkiness is just perfect.
Yeah. From the get-go, all I've ever said when I saw it from the very first time, and knowing what I did know about Robert Downey Jr., is it is Robert Downey Jr. It's not Robert Downey Jr. playing Stark. It's Robert Downey Jr.
It's like Robert Downey Jr. playing who he was before he was, because he took it.
It's the Playboy.
He took an arc of change in his personal life, so he was playing his past
He played
flaws.
his redemption arc.
Yeah.
The only difference is his intelligence. He's playing
you.
a Playboy genius.
Yeah.
But he was already a Playboy throughout his entire life. So
But
now
he's
he's
a
playing
science
Playboy.
genius playing in the basement with Jarvis and all his toys.
Oh, they say he graduated summa cum laude at 17 from MIT.
Yes.
MIT, yep.
Well, yeah, he attended when he was 15. Yeah.
Yep. Built his first
his first circuit board at 4.
Well, calm down. We don't know this till like Iron Man 3, right?
No, they say it right at the beginning of the movie. So, and then they say he built his first engine at the age of 6.
36 hours later, Tony Stark, blah, 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 built his first circuit board at 4.
Oh, yeah.
It's like in the intro thing to that award ceremony.
Yep. So we got Iron Man, we got
Pepper Potts.
We have, let's say, what about the villain of the story?
Jeff Bridges playing Obadiah Stane.
Yeah. Now I know nothing about the character. If it is a character, I don't know anything about that.
I think we need to take a second here to realize if this is important, because when it comes to the MCU, talking about the comic books, they obviously changed a lot from the comic books to the movies, and now
they
the
take some
movies.
liberties for sure.
Yep.
The movies have become their own entity. So
they have. It's not.
So whether or not
what we're trying to do is not direct it off of how the comic book character is, as much as
if that name,
if it's a character that we're aware of in the comics. We're just typecasting at this point because that's the biggest thing I've realized.
I feel like I've seen a bald guy with that beard and a lab coat in comics before.
Every comic.
Hugo Strange from the Batman comics was probably a lot like that.
I do know that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but I don't know.
But he had
personally.
goggles, didn't he?
Is
that the one who had goggles?
Okay, but like
maybe.
they looked like goggles. They sat
goggles.
so fucking far into his eyes.
Bifocals.
Yeah. I don't know if Obadiah Stane particularly is a prevalent villain or if he's just like a one-time thing.
Well, there's
a very small villain in this movie. In fact, well, personally not, but
let's base just off of performance then for Jeff Bridges. This is I don't recall him being a bad guy. I'm not saying he hasn't. I don't recall seeing him as a bad guy, but how did we feel as him as a villain?
Oh, I love it.
I think he's probably, and Tim and I were talking about this earlier, I think he's probably the most evil seeming villain simply based on the fact that most of what he does is done with the detachment of a businessman. Mm-hmm. Like there's no...
And an uncle.
Yeah, there's not even a ton of like, not until towards the end is there a lot of emotion from him. Anytime he does anything that like
he'll take money over emotion.
Greed seems to be because greed has like the most emotional detachment, like to some degree. It gives him this this aura of evil that I don't think other villains possess. Like other villains do it for emotional reasons. Like even Vulture, who's stealing and selling things, is doing it for an emotional reason to support his family.
Or even Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
It was all about pride. It was his pride. It was his ego.
Yeah.
It was an emotional attachment to his ego. He was so vain. It was attached to that vanity, and he wanted to be best. So anything less than that was like, what? What?
But
no.
Like Jeff Bridges is just sacrificing people like they're pawns on a chessboard. Yeah.
And he wanted to take control too, so it was
so he could run the business, which ran the world, and have the most money, which money is power.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he did a great job.
He did,
and his look.
That reveal, he looks friendly when they have their business relationship in the beginning, but when he turns, I loved it because he told.
When they're doing the photo op,
yes, right in front of the photo, he's like, come over here, let's take a photo.
Let's take a photo.
And then he just drops the truth on him, and it was just so, it flipped, and he looks the same, but all the evil came out.
It's because he doesn't change at all. But the second Robert Downey Jr. he's he changed. Like you can see his face.
I've been a pawn this entire time to this motherfucker.
And Bridges does it with just this very condescending smile on his face the whole time.
Because it's the photo op.
It's his eyebrows. His eyebrows, for the most part, most people have a lot more facial features, and that he does. He has facial features, but because he has his beard and he has a shaved head, you don't see the facial features as much as you would because of the beard. But there's nothing going on in here, and the eyebrows always seem to be like this. He's squinting. It's always protruded down as it's a focus. It's a directive that he's going for, and he's going to get what he wants. Yeah. And everything, all the pictures, all the things, and it was just
all that stuff. I feel like it just makes him probably the most. Feels like the most evil of any of the Marvel villains you really run into. Yeah. Because even a lot of the Marvel villains tend to have a comedic bent to them somehow, and nothing about what Jeff Bridges is doing is funny.
Or you have to feel bad for him, Black Panther villain or something like that. You got to feel for them so they can do some terrible shit, but they're not.
What it is out of all the villains that we have in the Marvel world, really, this is the one that is basically just human.
Yeah.
Just human.
Yeah.
He's just being human.
Yeah.
No powers, no other motive than
Way to simplify
power.
that. I agree.
Yeah.
He wants power. That's really what it is.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely, and that's kind of what I think they're showing.
Yeah.
To what I would agree.
So what about
Rhodey Rhodes?
Yeah, War Machine.
So he's not War Machine in this one. He eventually becomes War Machine, but so Terrence Howard plays him in this movie, but doesn't come back for the next few.
No, he doesn't.
And
he doesn't come back ever.
No.
Okay.
No. Don Cheadle replaces him,
takes
but
over. And I believe that was a studio issue. I think it had to do with money or something. I don't really remember what the issue was.
Terrence was coming off his high heels from winning a award from Hustle and Flow.
Oh, so he just didn't.
And I think there was like personal fucking.
He felt like he deserved more.
Yeah,
money
there was some egos going on.
Well, that's what I could have sworn I heard that it was because he wanted more money.
Yeah.
And, they were like, no.
And that might be part of the reason. It was like,
and given that it was so
like,
new
bitch,
too.
That did well. If you want me to come back, you better double my thing type of mentality.
And he wasn't, I'm sorry, he's no Robert Downey Jr.
He played Jeff Bridges in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally think Terrence Howard was a better Rhodey than when we see Don Cheadle take up the spot in Iron Man 2. But I get why he's not back. But I personally liked him better than I liked Don Cheadle.
Okay.
At least for that role. I'm not saying overall, but for that role, I like Terrence Howard better. The way he is with Robert Downey Jr. versus kind of the way Don Cheadle plays it eventually when he comes in, they're similar, but I think Terrence Howard does it better.
Yeah. I think he pulls off the military style better.
Yeah.
I don't think he had the chemistry that Don Cheadle had as much. He still had a little bit, but
he didn't get a chance to show it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I would say. So honestly, I like Don Cheadle.
That's what I was trying to stammer over there.
But I don't disagree that Terrence had more of the military feel, which would be more appropriate for the War Machine character.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't get to see that.
Right.
So I
would have killed to see Terrence Howard do the War Machine.
They're both great.
Yep.
Yeah. I will never take anything away from Don Cheadle. I think he's a great actor.
And that's why I was, after you pointing that out too, like, I wasn't a big fan. I liked the Don Cheadle, but honestly, we never got the chance to understand. So, and maybe it's for the best. Who knows?
Maybe, yeah.
We only have one other big name, but he wasn't really a big character. And that was Jon Favreau's as Happy.
Yeah.
And Happy, his chauffeur, basically manager.
Yeah.
He's only got one line.
He's great though.
Oh yeah, when they're racing, he's like, "I thought I lost you back there." You did, sir. I had to cut across Mulholland.
Right. But he's great as the characters proceed. But we're not talking about the rest. We're just talking about this one.
Yeah.
So let's move on because that's
Jon Favreau was a solid actor. You can't really take much away from him in general.
No, you can't. And the fact that he directed this, and he probably did because he directed, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he probably put himself in there with small role just so he didn't have so much to be focused on.
It's the Kevin Smith run, like where
right.
he did it just so like he could be in there and like he could kind of keep Muse on track, but like he didn't put himself any lines.
Yeah, he gave himself like 2 or 3 lines every couple movies.
Yeah.
And he's the one that talks the most. So what do we think about the story of this one?
I think it's a great intro to like it sets up Iron Man really profoundly, having him kidnapped right off the bat. And like having like the small ramp up, like, you know, the 36 hours before, and, you know, having him kidnapped, having that like epiphany moment, like when he sees all the
weapons,
and stuff in the camp, you know, it's a good start to his arc.
Yeah.
And you know, I couldn't argue with it. I thought it was really well done. I thought it's well written, so I couldn't argue with it.
I honestly have been saying this since the first time I've seen it. This is a perfect film. It's a perfect story. There's nothing wrong with this movie.
Okay.
It's always been one of those movies. I will always say that. Absolutely.
All right, dog.
I think for something that they weren't aware of that they had, this is extremely dark.
Yes.
Extremely violent. Extremely real.
Yeah.
It's a commentary on like
even,
you know, businesses, you know, dealing with terrorists.
Even the jokes are darker. They're more like punchy instead of kiddish or whatever. Like when Tony sleeps with that reporter, which is the lady from Jupiter's Legacy, and then fucking the lady wakes up the next morning, and then she has a conversation with Pepper. Pepper's like, yeah, I even take out the trash.
Oh shit!
There's jokes like that run throughout the film. They're just like, they just hit you with the dark and the truth, and they're funny, but they mean something. Not just little fuckers that make.
How did she take it? Like a champ.
Do you think they would have ruined like? With having Jason having said that it was a perfect movie, and there's no real complaints about anything about this movie.
No.
Do you think that if they had taken it instead of going, okay, we're just going to make Iron Man and we'll see where it goes. If they had been thinking about, we'll plan this out. Do you think they would have ruined it trying to overextend themselves and like create more questions or answer questions or anything like that? Do you think they would have overdone it?
It's really tough because the studio is different than it is now to then.
That's
you didn't have the same CEO. Like when Kevin Feige took over, he's a fanboy.
Yeah.
Right. The guy that we had before then was this old dude who didn't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
He was basically, hey, let's make some money.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the biggest difference about when Kevin Feige took over. So I'm going to say that, I think I have to say yes. I think it would have ruined it because of the way that their mentality was. They didn't think that way. And it wasn't until Kevin Feige came on board that they started thinking that way. Right. So it's really all because of him.
I want to talk about the music for a second if we're ready for that.
Go for it.
I always thought the music was spot on. They hit it at the right times, but I noticed something. What's up?
Is it because it was hard rock? Because most of the music, or is it the scoring of the film?
See, that's the thing, because it's an 80s song in the beginning when they're in Afghan, and it's the whole song like a song clip, and not the whole song.
AC/DC, right?
Yeah.
Back in Black.
And then they go to the flashbacks, and then this Frank Sinatra type music when they're in the Caesar's Palace, and then there's some other whatever. Then when they show him in his lab, so you get a sense that he's a fucking genius with his hands and tools. They're playing an all punk rock band.
Yeah. It was Social Distortion.
No, it was. I think it's All. The band is called All.
Oh, because it's a song that Jim plays a lot of.
Yeah, it's Descendants tried to start a new band, and they called it All, and it was just like this meta punk rock where they were just because they were so Rush talented, meaning the band's members from Rush. So they went to that, and that was a punk rock song. So they went through all this shit. But as soon as the bomb explodes, it's all guitar riffs. It's all drum riffs, or like these just more. They're no longer full clip songs. It's all just riffs, and it goes that way for the rest of the movie until he says, "I am Iron Man," and then it goes to the breakdown of Iron Man. So.
Black Sabbath.
I loved how they broke. So why I think it's cool. In the beginning, you get full song clips, vocals and everything, and that's when he thought his life was
perfect.
Exactly, and then everything flips upside down. He's rebuilding. He's rebranding. He's learning. He's epiphanies.
He's got pieces,
and then the riffs
fractured.
The riffs start from like drums.
He's fractured.
And the riffs get rougher and more hard rock as the more comfortable he is with these choices he's making and more he's learning and shit.
Because he's not. Oh wow, wow, that's impressive.
I never caught on to that till today.
Diving deep,
right?
It just hit me
analyzed
today.
the shit out of that.
But yeah, I think I stumbled onto something.
Whether
they did it on purpose or not, it was fucking helps. It helps that movie with that vibe, that connection, that ride, that adventure. Like you be in the same fucking.
You shake your head violently real quick.
Why? No.
I want you to snap out of it so you can go back to being who you were.
Yep, that did it.
That was no, that's impressive. Yeah, that's awesome. Like that's something that I did not pick up. I did pick up obviously the hard rock, and then it kind of you didn't really hear much after that. But like
I never would have picked up on that either.
No, that's fucking awesome.
Next time you watch it fucking.
Oh no, yeah, I'm gonna be a little more prepared now. So.
I guess we'll have to pay attention for next week.
It's such a genius touch. Or like I don't know the way to score a movie. It makes
this is
so
the kind
much
of shit.
sense.
This is the kind of shit that I learned in school.
With the dark shit.
Yep. Yeah? This is the kind of shit I learned in school. Is how to analyze film. It's film as a visual poem to the art of film. Those are the two classes that you learn about this shit because you break everything down. Every director has a purpose for what they do. There's nothing in a film that doesn't go unintentional. Unless it is
poorly made.
Well, yeah, unless it's like, you kind of get more of those comedies or certain things like that. But even then, it's an art form, and people do directors take it pretty seriously. Yeah. And I think the only time you don't really get that is when you get those Hallmark films or those Hallmark shows, and it's because it's network stuff. At that point, they're just pumping shit out.
Paycheck.
People.
They're just forming.
There's no passion behind that.
So that's awesome.
I forgot to look up who. Well, it was probably just
who composed it.
Never mind. There was no composing. There was just There's they purchased a few songs and then cut up.
I had that. Hold on.
But there's somebody in charge of the music, I would assume.
Yeah. What was your guys' favorite kind of like thing about this film? Like whether it was a scene or something, did you have something that you enjoyed the most about this? Like what was your favorite?
The attention to detail. For example, during the 36 hours before, when he's arrogant, Tony Stark still has the weapons deal. He's like talking to that journalist, like sticking up for his business, and he really believes what he's talking about, even though he's wrong. But he leans into her microphone that she's holding. He's like, "Write this shit down, bitch. I believe this fucking wholeheartedly." So like the way he leaned into the mic during that part of his monologue was just like, "Oh shit." Like,
yeah, and the faith that he has in his father too. It was like blind faith for.
Yeah, and that's part of the redemption story is that he was just gullible.
Yeah, he was heavily influenced,
and that,
blinded by faith.
And that's gonna piss a genius off if they've like, I was a used fucking pawn this whole time.
Yep.
I don't think it's my favorite, but going off your statement of like he believed in his dad, like when he comes back from being kidnapped and he has that press conference, first thing is like, I never got to say goodbye to my dad.
Yeah.
And he goes in that spiel about his father.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah, he talks about like I don't know if like I would have asked him questions. Like, find out if he, had regrets or if he really was the guy you see on the newsreels. Like
and like that attention to detail. The attention to detail. He sits down on the floor, asked everybody to do it. He's eating a cheeseburger,
sit down?
Which is a cry moment in Endgame, and then fucking he does that. He's like, and then he just says it to dude like it just hit him right there on the floor, like, oh shit, I just realized I never fucking said goodbye to my dad. Yeah. He's like having these on the fly epiphany moments in front of these people.
Yeah, his life was taken away from him, so now he's realizing what he had.
Yeah, it's all because of that bite of the cheeseburger.
It's his real come to Jesus moment. Like, more so than like seeing all the weapons like in the camp.
Well, it's because it was a very pertinent point because he had that epiphany about humanity versus like the right thing to do about humanity. Like he saw both worlds, I guess, is really what it was, and he was just like the clarity came to view of what side he wanted to be.
He was able to see before on paper like this is what we're doing because we're providing these weapons. Like we're able to do this for the military. But then he gets to see
them used against him, basically.
He gets to see what happens when people that shouldn't have him get a hold of him, which is easy enough to do.
Yep.
Like the black market and shit. So like there's that moment that's super pertinent and super like just poignant.
So would you say though? Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're gonna do your favorite.
My favorite scene I think is probably still got to be when Jeff Bridges takes his arc reactor out of his chest. Like that whole spiel. Like when he uses the device to like incapacitate him, and then just like talking very calmly while he removes the arc reactor. I think that's just a really well done scene. As Jeff Bridges probably at his most nefarious. And I'm a big Jeff Bridges fan, so like I would watch him do just about anything.
Just the way he does it too is so menacing because it's so calm.
He's calm.
The entire
he's almost
time.
Whispering the whole time. He's almost talking to himself, and like he's like, you remember this? Like such all these little applications. It's a shame it didn't get off the ground. And he's just kind of like bantering with Robert Downey Jr. while talking about the fact that he was having him killed. He was taking the arc reactor out of it, taking the arc reactor out of his chest. He's like, when I put the hit out on you, like I didn't realize that like you had something else in you, like that. He's like, you fight, like it's kind of like golden goose. Like you gave me one more egg.
Yeah, that was
that whole thing. That whole scene was dope. I loved it.
That was a really good scene. Yep. And that was the moment where, kind of like you said, you kind of get that reveal. Of everything.
The true depth of like how really evil he is.
Well, by then you already knew. Well, no, maybe not.
Well, you kind of get the feeling right away.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing about that man that goes, oh, that's a great guy. Yeah, and I have to say that my favorite, I think one of my favorite episodes is really, or not episode, one of my favorite scenes is basically the when he's in his. I love his interaction with Jarvis, first of all, and Paul Bettany's the voice.
Or any of the
Jarvis.
robots.
Paul
Bettany. All Jarvis. Because he's just talking shit to him, like, you're in the way, or you're just going to stay there.
No, the robots all have their own names.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They do. But
his
I
banter
like
with the robots, I was laughing.
I just like Paul Bettany as Jarvis. I think it's great. But I like when he's in his when he's figuring out his boots and stuff like that. You know, he's working on his armor and he's doing all the tests. I thought that was great because
especially the first one where he just launches himself into the wall
and he just flies back.
The next scene he's working on arms to make that not happen.
And I really liked when Pepper comes down and he's like, "How small are your hands?" It's like, well, I don't understand what has to come down here. Yeah. He takes the old reactor,
replace the arc reactor,
and he's like, "Whatever you do, don't pull it." You just see her tighten her hand too, like she just yanks it. Whatever you don't pull it out, and you pulled it out.
Yeah,
it's like, oh my goodness, what's wrong? I'm just going into cardiac arrest.
He says it so nonchalantly, and then she finally gets the other one in, and she's like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "I'm fine. Never felt better."
Yeah. So so let's dive into our themed stuff. So we decided February would be our romance theme, given that it's Valentine's.
Love is in the Feb-u-airy.
Yes. Aaron's so proud of that.
Let him be proud.
I have so few things in life.
And so we're gonna basically just talk about our favorite romance films. And
some of them,
at least some of them. But before we get into that, what is it that, like, why is it that you guys watch romance films? Like, what is it that you look for? What is it that you like about them? I mean, we're supposed to be men, and men aren't supposed to want to fall into that cliche.
But first and foremost, we like stories. We like movies.
It's true.
Absolutely. And whether it's fucking fighting violence or fucking PDA, fucking beautiful people kissing, as long as the story's told well, I'm fucking enthralled.
I think at some point, I think we're all, even though we're guys, I mean, we all want to, believe that love exists, and we're all in various states of either trying to find it or having found it already, whatever we may be. But I mean, we all want to believe that love exists.
Yeah.
And of course, we want to believe that it can happen. So why wouldn't you want to see something that's that's beautiful like that?
Takes you out of the real world situation, and it gives you into
it's an unavoidable part of human condition. I've been trying to fucking fight off love all my life. God damn it. The insides just, make it seem like, so if I need to fill the void and ignore that shit in real life, I'm gonna click on some nice ass romantic movies. And it's not healthy or feels the thing for real, but a nice distraction.
That's always how I felt too. Like, I always had those moments where I wanted to watch those things. Like, there's even a period of time where I would watch the Twilight movie, the first one, the Twilight movie, because of that same kind of bullshit. Like, it's just like, I don't have it, but I want it. So how does it feel? So let's watch something of
you
something.
Guys are in love? What's that like?
Yeah. So but I also do, like you said, you're absolutely right, Jason. It's storytelling, just a different type of storytelling than what we're used to.
Since you want to say manly shit,
love stories are so prevalent throughout history.
Yeah, same with songs.
Yep. Yeah.
Love songs.
Music. Yep.
Poems. Love is the biggest catalyst. One of the biggest catalysts for any form of art.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, William Shakespeare was the king of that.
Yeah. So, he wrote dramas and comedies, both just based around love.
Yep.
In the various ways it can go wrong.
Let's start with you, Emlyn. What is your romance choice of films that you enjoy?
So I have 3 picked out that just I remember being very good. One is, we've talked about it when we did our John Hughes episode. Some Kind of Wonderful is probably one of my favorite John Hughes films. And I love the fact that he wrote it basically to correct the mistake of Ducky not getting the girl in Pretty in Pink.
Yeah.
I loved Some Kind of Wonderful. I love Eric Stoltz, even though he's kind of ugly.
And kind of a dick, apparently. He was that guy that he tried to do Back to the Future.
Yeah.
And they fired his ass because he made it too dark, and he wouldn't take notes or direction from directors.
And he was not that big of a star.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah,
he had absolutely no reason that he should have a head on his shoulder.
No
like
reason.
That.
Yeah, he was pompous for no reason.
Him, Leah Thompson, and Mary Stuart Masterson. I believe was the name of the last statue. Yeah, Mary Stuart Masterson.
Oh, the
whore of Hollywood.
The driver.
Mary Stuart Masterson is Watts, his best friend.
Yeah.
Who was the one he ends up with at the end. But like, I don't know. I
like that movie. I watched it in the last 2 years for the first time.
I've watched it twice.
I never knew about it.
Oh, it's
I found it by accident, and I saw John Hughes wrote it.
You're just like, I'm on.
I fucking love. And that lady that she was in Back to the Future as well. The mom,
Leah Thompson. Yeah.
She and Howard the Duck, but I like her.
That's why I call her whore of Hollywood for a reason.
She is seductive toned in that.
Oh, she always. I don't know. She slept around quite a bit.
She's got that sexy whisper to her fucking voice.
I mean, come on. She want to have sex with her own son.
Right.
Gross.
She's following the writing.
Yeah,
I liked it.
I love the fact that it, the movie Trojan War with Will Friedle and Jennifer Love Hewitt basically took a bunch of shit from this movie to make a different movie.
Yeah.
Because like that whole ending is some kind of wonderful in and of itself.
That's a great
without
movie
the ears.
Too. That's a great movie.
Should I write down? I never seen that
Trojan War.
That's
you gotta watch it. It's great. It's basically Will is his whole entire goal is to go around town looking for a condom because he wants to sleep with this hot chick.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I might have seen this.
But it's great. It's
but like
fun.
there's like so many like guest bits, like Danny Masterson's in it. Not that we like to associate anything with Danny Masterson at this point, but
not at this point. But he was younger.
Anthony Michael Hall is in it as well. He's the bus driver.
Yeah, yep.
This is the Trojan War. This is not some kind of wonderful. We veered off topic. But there's just a bunch of like guest appearances. You're just like, oh shit, they're in this movie too.
Yeah.
But it's Some Kind of Wonderful is probably one of my favorite romance films. But like, what are the other ones I picked out? Meet Joe Black is kind of a dark one that I always forget about, but I've seen it and I own it. I'm pretty sure.
Is that a romance movie? I thought it had more to do with death. Or
well, it is, but it's about death falling in love too at the same time. Yeah. He said death taking a holiday.
Yeah, he's like.
I just can't get over Brad Pitt's.
Anthony Hopkins
is too long for me, but I do like it.
Yeah, it's like a 2.5 hour movie or something.
Yeah, but then the pacing is very, very slow.
Well, it's a drawn out movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost 3 hours long. Sorry,
but it is supposed to. I mean, if you think about it, you're not gonna learn everything about humanity.
Yeah, because like, and that's
a matter of a couple minutes. So
Anthony Hopkins is supposed to be his guide through life, like teaching him all these things, and then he falls in love with Anthony Hopkins' daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
and vice versa.
And that's
Anthony Hopkins is why I've always and that daughter lady. I think whoever she
Lola
is.
Glaudini, I think is her name.
Right. I remember her from the Medallion.
But Anthony Hopkins always.
Jackie Chan.
Oh, Claire Forlani. Sorry,
he made that movie great for me.
Yeah. I honestly, it's not that Brad Pitt did a bad job. It was too. I don't think he was the right person, and I also just can't get past his Cajun accent or his Jamaican accent that was just absolutely god awful.
That was kind of cringy.
That only happened in one part of the movie.
Yeah, he talks to this one lady.
But I don't think he did a terrible job. I just feel like somebody else could have done it better.
I think it was not the perfect role for him. Like his acting is stunted in a way in this movie.
Yeah.
That like wouldn't have happened if it had been somebody else. Like,
and I'm sure he was coming off of like Fight Club and stuff like that too, right? Because
this was 1998, so yeah, probably.
The casting and the direction, they probably were just like, hey, we just need a pretty face to deadpan.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what a Grim Reaper would act like, so just act like you have no emotions and look pretty.
But it didn't really work though. It just didn't work. Yeah, I think he was too pretty. Maybe that's the issue. It's too pretty.
But yeah, so I think the movie itself is really rather beautiful.
Yeah.
Especially the way at the end, like he stops being the Grim Reaper and like he just comes back to life and like, but they still live on to like be happily ever after.
Yeah.
I think that's just a nice touch. Like I say, it's been a bit since I've seen the movie, so like I just remember it fondly as being a nice romantic film, like an enjoyable romantic film for me.
Absolutely. I always enjoyed that one.
Yeah, and my last one, honestly, and we talked about Shakespeare. A Midsummer Night's Dream is probably one of my favorite movies because it's also one of my
Kevin Kline.
Yep, the Kevin Kline, Michelle Pfeiffer, Christian Bale, Stanley Tucci.
He plays Puck. Yep.
It's beautifully done. It's Shakespeare, and I'm a big fan of Shakespeare. Midsummer Night's Dream is actually my favorite Shakespearean play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I love the movie. I love the ending between Kevin Kline's, after all is said and done, Kevin Kline is home, just back to his normal life, and he sees the fairies.
Well, in that particular film too was like very theatrical. It was like very Broadway-ish for the film itself, which made it had this whole other aspect to it. It wasn't a film.
There's so many different like things going on in the film, but like everything revolves around things being done for love or because of love. The two couples that like get bewitched in order to like, supposedly help them, but they get mixed up, so they're in love with the wrong person.
Yep.
Or the Titania being in love with Kevin Kline, who's turning into a donkey, to the play being done at the end simply because the Lord, was in love with his wife and wanted to put on a nice party for her.
Yeah.
Everything has to do with love in this movie, and I don't know, it's one of my favorite plays, and I love the movie.
That's what's up. I
Midsummer what?
A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Okay. I enjoy that one as well.
Yeah. And Kevin Kline is just phenomenal in the movie.
He's a great.
I mean, Kevin Kline's phenomenal just about everything he does. I even watched Wild Wild West the other night. Was like,
right?
I fucking love Kevin Kline.
I enjoy the shit out of that movie because of him.
Yeah.
Not because of Will Smith.
Will Smith
give a
is
shit
fine.
about it. It could have been Martin Lawrence as far as I care. It didn't matter.
Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh make that movie.
Yeah.
Will Smith, I could have taken our left.
Yeah, exactly. It could have been somebody else, and it wouldn't have blinked an eye. Yeah. Kevin Kline's the one that made that movie, in my opinion. Yep.
Cool. But yeah, so those are kind of the jumping points for romance. Like I like, like I say, I love Shakespeare. So I mean, I'll watch just about any rendition of a Shakespeare like turned into a movie, like Romeo and Juliet, As You Like It. HBO did a run of them with Kenneth Branagh, or Kevin Kline, not Kenneth Branagh, that were really good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Right on. Yeah, I like all those. So what was it again? What was your
So we had Some Kind of Wonderful.
Some Kind of Wonderful.
Meet Joe Black.
Yep.
And A Midsummer Night's Dream.
I at least have two of those. I have Midsummer Night's Dream and then Meet Joe Black.
Yep.
I have those, but I don't have
Some Kind of Wonderful you can find on Amazon Prime.
Or I might watch that tonight.
Or Hulu, one of the two.
Cool. Jason.
I'm going to start with the movie Her.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson.
And Chris Pratt.
Is it Chris Pratt? No.
The Office douche.
Yeah.
I have honestly never
seen
it.
But yeah, Scarlett Johansson. Yep.
Dude, check it out.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
I keep hearing good things about it.
It'll surprise you.
Okay. Word. All right.
It is
because it is a fucking love story between this man and this phone, technically, or
and a personality,
an AI.
Or I don't even know if it's an AI.
I don't think it's an AI.
It's a personality.
It's just
you don't know who it is. It's Scarlett Johansson
voice
on a voice.
It's a
personality.
It's a machine of some sort.
Basically, it's like the online dating, and he fell in love with like the online dating without the online part.
This is a movie about, I don't know, loneliness, but being happy with loneliness, being stuck in like a fucking a routine, and then
so it's you.
And then yes, why I have connected with this movie.
What do we call it out?
No, I appreciate it. It's true, but like somewhere it takes this turn where they both are accidentally like, shit, do we have these feelings for each other? And one's a fucking human, one's a robot, and blah blah blah. But really, Joaquin's Phoenix or his performance is just once again flawless with the worst mustache possible.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the fucking mustache he has too is so it's so terrible, but it's so fitting.
Forget about it because
it's so fitting at the same time. Yeah,
because he's
him and his glasses
because he's a weirdo. Yeah.
Yep.
And
weird mustache and glasses.
Somehow, I read the premise. I had nothing else to watch. I liked these actors. I clicked on it and was so surprised. And I think it falls into a romantic movie, even though there isn't a guy and a girl. Yeah,
I've seen it pop on romance.
Absolutely. No, it's a phenomenal film.
It really is. It's quite original.
And romance doesn't necessarily have to do with a guy and a girl. It can just be about
that connection,
the concept of the connections, the concept of love in and of itself. Like it could be talking about. I saw Up pop up as a romance movie, and that's just all because that guy's doing it for the love of his wife.
Yeah,
who's
absolutely.
Dead. Yep. Like so, it's I mean, that doesn't necessarily have to be like a cookie cutter, like man and a woman falling in love sort of shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree. Is that all we have to say about that movie? You haven't seen it. You love it.
What's it streaming on?
I don't know. I'll
find it. I would say you can probably find it on anything.
It's a Netflix reoccurrer.
Okay.
That's
So I
with
feel
6
like
R's.
I feel like I just saw that
Her.
it was streaming on something, so I just thought
Yeah.
I'd have like a reminder.
Destination Wedding.
Yeah.
With,
Keanu
like,
Reeves
Keanu-
and
Again, never seen it.
what?
Winona Ryder and
Yeah,
I
Winona
never
Ryder.
watched it.
That is on Netflix right now, I believe.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I fucking
Yeah,
love the
I enjoy
dialogue. I love the Spock dialogue. That down to
It's
earth,
so straight.
logical.
Yeah.
It is
Oh, okay.
just
Like, yeah, I totally get it. Keanu Reeves especially is like the deadpan
mhm.
Spock aspect.
And
yeah.
Winona Ryder would be if she was she does fine, but
She does, yep.
but
She
they're both
can't
the
help but
same.
Winona
And
Ryder the shit out of it.
that whole movie was just like, what the fuck am I watching? What am I listening to right now? And I agree with most of these fucking.
No, but right away too, they're awkward, like offensive, meet cute.
Yeah.
Was great because then
In the
it's
line?
you.
Yep.
That's what they say too. They're like, oh, it's
No,
you.
God.
Oh,
But they end up realizing they're
in the same position.
they're
same
the
boat.
smartest people to talk to at the party, if you will. Is probably how the characters think about it. So, or at least Keanu to her, and then because he is a fucking I'm a genius type of thing without really saying it.
Yeah,
But
he's very
he's like
high on his horse.
Maybe not genius, but his character is like, I have life figured out.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with me.
He puts himself on the pedestal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are. And even their sexual encounters are
Yeah,
odd.
no. When they have sex in that field, it was the most awkward thing because they're like right in the middle of the wine field or whatever, and they're just fucking going at it.
Yeah.
It's like it was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's like the
But at
shit.
the same time, it was romantic for them. I mean, it will be for them
Yeah,
later, but
later.
in the moment, I don't know.
I agree, man. Continue.
So yeah, check out Destination Wedding. It's
Okay.
it's an hour and a half. You're in, you're out, but the dialogue is
So are they
so
in the vineyard apparently.
Sing. Comedy.
nailed it. Now I'm gonna go with this one, Poetic Justice. Tupac and
Oh, okay.
what's
Janet?
Janet
Janet
Jackson.
Jackson?
Yeah,
I couldn't remember if that was her or not.
it's a movie from the '90s. Obviously, I only watched it because of Tupac, being a fan from him growing up.
Obviously.
But I've rewatched it in the last few years, and it's really a good fucking story. Aaron, do you mind looking up who directed or wrote it or something like that?
I thought Poetic Justice was a Spike Lee thing.
Yeah, it might
I
be.
could be wrong.
Actually, it wouldn't surprise me if it was. It's because of
The style and
the
whatnot.
But
style.
it's really well done. But the story is.
I've never actually watched it.
I don't know.
It's John Singleton.
Okay. So Boys in the Hood guy.
Yep.
Okay.
That would
Yeah.
also make sense, I guess.
That makes,
Yep.
Yeah, that makes some sense.
It
too.
has to deal with the culture. Is
Yeah.
really what it is. It's the black culture that you really get the sense in those.
Yeah, but this is a love story in that world of a guy from the streets to a guy to a lady not in the streets, and
Mhm.
two different statuses.
Yep. The two different worlds. Yeah.
Another destination wedding, meet cute, where they don't like each other, but they got stuck on this mail trip. Tupac's a mailman, I believe, and he offers to give her a ride to some blah 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 in his mail truck.
Do you want me to read the synopsis for you?
Yes, Aaron, thank you.
It says, still grieving the murder of her boyfriend, hairdresser Justice writes poetry to deal with the pain of her loss.
Hairdresser Justice.
Unable to get to Oakland to attend a convention because of her broken down car, Justice gets a lift with her friend Leisha and Leisha's postal worker boyfriend Chicago. Along for the ride is Chicago's co-worker Lucky. What the fuck is with these names?
Yeah.
To whom Justice grows close after some initial problems. But is she ready to open her heart again?
Apparently.
This movie is not perfect like Iron Man, but the romantic tones and the message there and that whole like, it's not even well acted. They're just fucking famous pop stars, acting in a Singleton movie. But yeah, I don't know. I liked it, and I liked it for different reasons when I was young, and I rewatched it and found it to like the romance side of it.
Okay.
The older I got. I wouldn't suggest writing. This is not a recommendation. You can go with or without on this movie, but it checks those boxes.
Right on.
In that culture, what did you say? Society or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Well, it was just the
In
black
that world,
culture
yeah.
is what I was getting at. Like that's why I was like Spike Lee. He's very prominent. He shows the black culture, and then now it makes sense with the Boys in the Hood guy, John Singleton.
Mm-hmm.
The same
but
thing. Like
you could say
you get
whatever
it.
culture, it doesn't have to be black, but it's just people in two different worlds accidentally meeting
Yeah,
and then
that,
falling head over heels
two
for
different
each other
worlds. Yeah,
when it's the last thing they expected.
sorry, I misunderstood. Yes.
No, you were not wrong. I'm
Yeah.
just saying you could.
The two different worlds thing
Yeah.
coming together. Yep. The Romeo and Juliet story is really what it is.
There you are.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely like
and I
Most
think
love stories
most love stories
are the
follow
similar
that.
shit.
Opposites attract. That's the whole.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the movie.
Yeah.
So those are your three. What are they again?
Shit. Her.
Walking
Phoenix. Blah blah blah. Destination Wedding.
Yep.
Keanu Reeves and Poetic Justice. Actors are irrelevant.
Because he really didn't act.
yeah. Not even
Tupac
actors.
and-
No,
I
that
think
director.
I think one of
That
them was an
director
actor.
carried the movie.
Yeah. I think the only thing I've ever seen Janet Jackson in, honestly, is Nutty Professor.
Yep.
So,
She's in there.
yeah.
The second one,
Yeah, she's in the second one. She plays
Oh.
the love
Jada-
interest.
Jada Pinkett Smith decided she wasn't coming back.
I didn't blame her.
All
Cool.
right.
I guess it's on to me,
You're up.
Yo, yo,
You're
yo.
So-
up, Coach.
right?
Put me in, coach.
So my first one is Coach. No, just
I love that sitcom.
Coach Carter.
He loves his daughter.
Ew.
No, not like that. In the
Whoa,
fact that he will do
wow.
anything to help her succeed in life. Aram.
You say Coach Carter, like Samuel L.
Yeah.
Jackson's Coach Carter. That's a good
I at
movie.
least got
though.
a movie out of it. He loved basketball.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Anyway,
Loving basketball.
oh no, because he liked his drugs more.
True.
Basketball Diaries.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Sorry,
Yeah.
not loving
Yeah.
Basketball
Yeah, it was
Diaries.
the Basketball Diaries
Sorry.
with
Basketball-
Leonardo DiCaprio being a crackhead or something like that.
Something like that.
Heroin.
Heroin. Yeah.
Aaron. Crack. Whatever.
He showed me that it was gross. So thanks.
So I'm gonna have to say my. It's always been this way too. Like my number one romance film is technically it's a dark romance. Is The Crow.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck, it's been a while. Where's the romance in this movie? I don't
The
think-
whole
reason he comes back.
fucking movie. The whole
Oh,
reason he comes
because
back
he
is
has
because
a-
of true love.
he has a kid and a wife.
No.
Or something
No.
like that, right?
He just has a fiance.
But
They
there's
didn't
no
even-
kid?
I don't even know.
There's a kid involved, but she's like a friend
Oh,
of theirs
yes.
that knows them.
Gotcha. And that talks to
So-
him afterwards.
Yep.
Can't rain all the time.
The entire movie, the entire reason why he came back
Mm-hmm.
as whatever he is because of the love of his life, the true and pure love.
Oh, did they fucking?
The gangs killed him. They raped her and killed
Yeah,
her.
they did that fucking Dirty Harry shit. or
And
whatever that was.
so he came back as vengeance, basically,
He was basically
right
Ghost
the
Rider without the motorcycle or the powers.
and cooler, a little bit more emo, but
I wouldn't
cooler.
say cooler, but
Emo's cool than Tim.
that's fine.
Well, it was more gothic
yeah.
emo, not
Jesus
emo.
which is
Christ.
why
See, he
it's-
knows the fucking
Which is why it's
differences.
but no, I mean I understand why Tim's saying it's much more gothic because
Yeah.
it's not
It's a
emotional,
gothic tale.
It's literally
just
just
dark.
darkness.
Yeah,
Dark.
it's a gothic tale though. It's not just your typical.
There's no actual daylight in the movie as far as I
No,
know.
Right.
well, you do for a brief second, like for a little bit, and towards the end where they go to the grave. But
Is it raining?
Oh.
it rains 90%
Rains,
of the
yeah.
time.
Most of the movie is rain.
And it's a joke that they or not joke, but it's a comment that remains where he says to the little girl, because she's like trying to skateboard out in the rain. He's like,
Yeah.
"God, I just wish it wasn't wet all the
Oh,
time." It's
yeah,
like, well,
yeah.
it can't rain all the time. Basically,
And that's how she
hinting-
It can't be
That's
bad
how she
all-
yeah.
realizes it's
Things
a-
will
there's
eventually
hope
get
in-
better.
Yeah, you gotta have hope.
That's
Gotta
how
have
Okay.
faith.
That's how she
So,
always. That's how she realizes it's like it's the guy she knew because
Yeah, Eric.
that's a lyric
Oh.
from one of his songs because he was a musician.
Right.
Fucking of course.
Fuck, I haven't
Yep.
seen that since fucking.
Oh,
the
dude, but
90s
that
probably.
guitar, that little guitar fucking
Riff,
solo
whatever.
that he does, oh, it's so great. And then he gets, because it really emphasized, like it was, I don't know, man, it was beautifully done. And it was aggressive because then then he breaks his guitar because he's angry because it was like him playing his music, which was also related to the love that he had, the passion. Now he's like, it's destroyed because she's gone. And it built and it got intense and more crazy and chaotic before he just loses it and just fucking smashes his guitar. It's great. Fucking loved it.
I really wish they'd stopped with that movie instead of making like 4 or 5 more.
Oh my god, I never
100%
gave
agree.
2 a chance. So
Don't.
that pisses me off. There's more than 2.
Don't. Because like at one point, I remember one of them, like the guy comes back and like starts tearing like skin off of his face, and the makeup is underneath, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah, there's only one. There's only
Yeah.
one, and it's the one with Brandon. Lee.
Brandon Lee.
So, but that would be my
I like that.
That has to be mine. No, it's a dark.
Yeah.
It's a dark
It's
romance.
definitely dark, and I can see where you're going with the romance, and I get the idea for sure.
Because the whole thing came
You
down
wouldn't
to.
have any.
I even had a ring. I probably even still do. That says "True love lasts forever" because that's their whole. That was their whole slogan. That was their whole thing.
Marketing thing. Yeah.
Was "True love lasts forever," and yeah, I don't know. There's always been something about that that's because it's extremely poetic, but
it's a very poetic notion of love for sure.
Yeah. I don't have no idea who directed it, but Brandon Lee starred in it.
Google, help me.
Right. My second one has to be Serendipity with John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale and Jeremy Piven.
That's legit.
I've always loved that movie.
I just recently watched that for the first time.
I don't think I've actually ever watched it. Is it on Netflix right now?
And so you wouldn't consider that a comedy, a rom-com?
Oh, it is. It's totally a rom-com.
We never said we had to stay away from
comedies. Oh, right on. I was just trying to stay away for now.
No, it's all about love.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's about serendipitous love. So
yeah,
but it's not. I guess when I say rom-com, I like silly rom-coms. Like, I don't know. They get pretty fucking stupid.
Some can.
This one isn't though. This one is just. It seems to be serious funny.
I think it would be considered whimsical.
Yeah. Yep.
There we
That's
go.
where I would go. It's a little bit more whimsical. It's really not funny. I mean, it's technically probably considered a comedy, but it's like a rom-com.
Yeah.
But
you giggle because they're cute moments.
Yeah. It has moments where it's like, oh, that's giggle, but not like ah.
Yeah.
By the way, The Crow.
Alex Proyas is the director.
Alex Proyas, and it was a comic book series, which I never, never read.
Was it Dark Horse?
I think so.
I feel like
but I've never read it.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So, anyway, but Serendipitous with John Cusack and Kate Beckinsale and Jeremy Piven. I don't know. I've always loved that movie. I remember watching it consistently, like what you were talking about earlier about like, just wanting to be in that mood or feel. That was my go-to. Because not only did I'm a huge fan of John Cusack, it had that, for somebody who really doesn't believe in fate, it had that fate.
Mm-hmm.
that moment of like, everything works out. The
everything
strings will come.
Align.
That bullshit. Mm-hmm. I really dived into
That's
that.
the name.
That faded kind of aspect of romance, and I've always felt that way, even though I don't believe in that.
Yeah,
it's,
for sure.
It's a very messy situation up inside my head when it comes to that shit.
Same boat.
But the director is Peter Chelsom, who I've never heard of. So he's apparently done Space Between Us.
I don't know. I remember the title.
Hector in a Search of Happiness, which is great with Simon Pegg. Funny Bones. So that's cool. So he did some stuff I've seen. And the third one, I'm a little torn because I have to say it's probably The Notebook. I am just a sucker for that fucking movie.
I think that's on all of our lists. I mean, it's it's kind of a classic. No, Aaron? Have you seen it?
It's a beautiful story. It's not my favorite romance movie.
I had most of the people I've talked to, ladies, it was like that in the beginning of a relationship movie. You're like, motherfucker, you said you love me. Since you know what we're doing next week, we're gonna watch the movie Notebook.
Right.
Like the ladies force it upon the men. Is that how you watched it?
Yes.
Because of Lady Me Too. How about you?
Nope.
You watched it on your own?
I was all willing.
That actually doesn't surprise me as much because Tim's such a film guy.
Right. No, that's fine.
Yep.
2 out of 3 is cool. But
that's still admissible as evidence.
But yeah, I what'd you say? You don't like it, Aaron? I like it.
The
ending.
The story is beautiful in and of itself, like the concept, the whole thing. I just did not enjoy the movie.
Okay.
And that's just on me. Like, I couldn't tell you why I didn't. The whole thing was just very much unenjoyable.
You were just mad at Ryan Gosling because he got paid pretty well to say barely anything.
Right.
Because he really just stares at her every time.
What do you want?
Right? Like a bazillion times. Tell me what you want.
Like
I honestly, the reason why I like the film probably has to do less with the actors and more of just the story.
And the ending, though.
Well, the ending was, that was a sucker point. Like, that was just draw me in with a great ending, sure.
It's one of your famous endings we haven't really...
The loop?
Well, it brings it all back around and makes it worth.
Yeah, it comes full circle.
Because when I first watched it, I was like, fine, this isn't too bad, but like whatever. And then I got to the surprise ending that she has dementia or whatever, some kind of Sixth Sense type of shit.
What?
Alzheimer's. Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. It was kind of a surprise ending, like Sixth Sense.
Oh, what the fuck are you talking about? She got dementia. That's Sixth Sense.
I know my senses.
What the fuck?
Oh my goodness!
I'm all over the universe.
Oh no!
Somebody's.
My point being is that the ending is what really made me like the movie.
Yeah.
That movie, the ending brought it all together.
It was a beautiful ending. The fact that they kind of went out together.
I could have watched the bit with James Garner, and I the actress's name escapes me, but James Garner at their parts I was okay with. It was watching Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams work together. Like I just did not find any sort of joy watching those two on screen.
No, that was annoying.
Yeah,
it was a bunch of kids.
Both of them were very annoying. But I think that's why that was the purpose too. Was that these two were so different. Yeah. Once there were two different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Blue collar and
hoity-toity,
white collar basically.
Silver spoon.
I had to think about it because I'm like, wait, was she really rich or was it?
At least white collar, if not more so.
Yeah, and
silver spoon. I think
it also showed a sense of like he was driven, and no wasn't an answer. Which nowadays it's called creep.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's still like I guess that's still romanticizing something that like nowadays like no one would be like okay with.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just taking it to that level.
But no, like I say, I could have watched James Garner and the other actress. Yeah. Like their parts were compelling. Like I wanted to know more about why he was telling the story, and then to find out at the end what the reasoning was. That I thought was beautiful. Ryan Gosling and Rachel
they were
McAdams,
so annoying. All they did was fight and fuck the whole time. Ryan Gosling just stared at her while she would like go on these long fucking monologues, and he would just be like, say nothing. And then just be like, I love you, with his shirt off.
Well, and here's the thing. I'm pretty sure the only reason why he was after her is because he thought that she looked good.
Yeah.
Because it had nothing to do with...
He was superficial.
Yeah. It had nothing to do with
because
personality
she was
or
the
connection.
Prettiest girl. Yeah.
Yep. And so it was...
And that's why I'm mad
I like that. I want that.
That's why I'm mad about the bickering and why he had rebuttal and dialogue. He would just stand and stare and be like, you were so pretty.
Yeah.
When can we have sex again?
I personally just don't think either of them are that great of an actor.
I like McAdams.
I think he can.
I like them both in their own.
I think he can be at times, but I just don't think that either one of them are great enough to really carry a movie like that on its own.
See, I don't know, because Ryan Gosling.
But I agree, the old people help me
moments
through the movie, Aaron.
So the director that did that one, so the Notebook came out in 2004. He directed She's So Lovely and John Q.
John Q's a great movie.
I was at the hospital. Denzel Washington.
Yeah, for his kid.
Yep. And then he did Alpha Dog, My Sister's Keeper, Yellow, and The Other Woman. And The Other Woman, I actually really enjoy.
Huh.
Yellow.
I don't know anything about Yellow, but
I don't know either.
I love Alpha Dog. Alpha Dog's a great movie.
Yeah. So knowing that, knowing his range,
that's
I can kind of see a connection with some of that stuff. He does a little bit of.
Yeah, he definitely roams all over, but he definitely does stuff that's really emotionally charged.
Yeah.
Because like even Alpha Dog's not much of like an action.
Oh man, I'm gonna
Nick Cassavetes.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I know. So if you remember the movie Life,
yes,
the head guard.
Oh,
that's Nick Cassavetes.
Oh yeah, so he is an actor because he was in Face Off.
Face Off. He did the Wraith.
Yep. He was. That's what he kept popping up on that, and I'm like, I don't know what this means.
Yeah, so. Nick Cassavetes. I think he's related to somebody else.
He was in Mask. Oh wow, yeah.
Mask, really?
Yeah. With
with Eric Stoltz. I just don't remember his part. Huh? Yeah. Weird.
But yeah,
the movie with Cher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to go to start looking up yours. I want to know what year yours is because we already talked about you too, right? We mentioned your years.
My years.
Yeah. Look at the years of your films.
Oh, okay.
Because I think we've touched base on a multitude of like a drastic change in eras, like like the 90s, 80s, whatever.
So
Aram, go to your year. What year were your films?
Some Kind of Wonderful was done in 1987. And then
1987.
Yep. And then Meet Joe Black came out in 1998.
Okay.
And then a year later, A Midsummer Night's Dream came out.
Okay.
But I mean, technically speaking, the actual like story was written way back.
But so you got 90s for sure. You definitely like your 90s stuff.
Well, I mean, I came into my years in the 90s.
What is yours, Jason? Or have you not figured out yet?
I just need Destination Wedding.
Okay, well, I'll do mine real quick. So The Crow came out in 94. Serendipity came out in 2001. And then Notebook came out in 2004. So like for me, it was right there, that 2000s. Yeah. Other than The Crow, because I don't know, I grew up watching The Crow.
Oh, yeah. Who did?
And it's hard for me to not love that movie. Yeah. And then you're looking for Destination Wedding?
I got it. So Her, 2013. Destination Wedding 2018. So I saw it shortly after it came out. It must have been a straight to DVD type of movie.
Well, yeah, it came straight on streaming.
I don't think it came out in theaters at all.
No, and I get it. It's not one for the theaters.
Nope.
And then Poetic Justice is 1993.
So that's cool. It's definitely, and the reason why I'm bringing up these years is differences and just movie making for the romance stuff or for love films or even the idea. Like we were just talking about from the Notebook, like 1920s or 40s or whatever, that way that they perceived love versus like now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be hit with a restraining order and shit like that, sexual harassment and all that. But like, the filmmaking style is drastically changed.
Yeah.
And the storytelling and the way that it's done too. So
definitely.
I definitely feel like there's a lot more quirkiness in the 2000s with the rom-coms because that's where I feel like it really got
absolutely.
boosted. Yeah. And things like that. So, yeah. Looking to find out what the next ones are for next week.
Mm-hmm. And the next movie you have to watch is it Thor or no? You son
Iron
of a
Man
bitch.
2's the way it's done on Disney Plus has it listed as Iron Man 2.
I think what he was about to say is, do we want to introduce the Hulk or not?
Oh, is that part of the MCU?
I don't think it.
I think it's
not a part of the phases.
Is it grandfathered in?
But it has the characters. Should we or should we not? Let's make the decision now.
Is it even on Disney Plus?
I don't think it's on.
I don't think so, but I'm sure you can find it.
I would choose not. I don't think it's important.
Okay, you don't think it's important? Okay, don't because there's
only one scene, like Aaron said, that makes it part of.
No. There's characters. So you have Tony Stark that makes an appearance on the ends, but you also have Thunderbolt Ross.
Oh, a little cameo.
William Hurt is Thunderbolt Ross, and he's continued.
Yeah,
he is Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU.
The same character.
So it's a prominent character, and it's a continuation. So it all fits. That's why I'm saying we should decide if we're going to do it or not.
Avengers, Mark Ruffalo actually references the movie too.
Yeah, he broke Harlem.
He's like, oh, last time I was in New York, I broke Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
So
my vote is no, but Aaron, what you think?
I'm kind of 6 one way, half dozen the other. If we want to do it, I say do it. But if not, I really don't think it's going to matter too much. I think if you really want to get technical, I think people would rather we didn't because it doesn't.
It's not part of the
phases. Yeah. So if we're going to stay to the phases, I say we skip it and go to Iron Man.
We're skipping it. We've just established, and we can always reference back because William Hurt is now officially Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah,
and that's really all.
That's all
we
you
need to take from it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So because I don't Jennifer Connelly hasn't made. Oh, that was the first one.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
It's Tyler. Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler. Yeah, she hasn't made her appearance in any of the other ones.
No, yeah, she was only in the Edward Norton one. So
cool.
So my question hasn't been answered. Next movie we need to watch is it Thor or First Avenger?
The way Disney Plus has it set up is Iron Man 2, the one shot, and then Thor.
Yeah. Yeah.
No shit.
Okay, that's something else because I just saw that today that they brought the one shots.
What is that?
The one shots are those little like 15-minute, 20-minute
I've
films
heard
that they
them.
made.
Yeah.
So they did one with Ben Kingsley and about the 10 Rings and stuff like that. So they're like little fillers to help with the story. I think we should watch those and mention them, but I don't think we should make an episode. I just think that we should watch them.
We'll add them to our whatever they're connected to.
So just in the phases, just go off of the phases on Disney Plus. Iron Man 2, and then it's one shot.
So one shot. The funny thing happened on the way to Thor's hammer, and then Thor comes out
Okay, so it is Thor before.
So we'll just go off
Iron Man
of,
2. No shit.
Yeah,
They made
Iron
that
Man
before
2.
Thor, huh?
Yeah.
Well, they were capitalizing on the fact that Iron Man was so
That makes
successful,
sense.
and then they finally
Yeah,
okay,
and
well
they
maybe
did-
we can move on to other characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Thor came out in 2011. So
Yeah, because Iron Man 2 is 2010.
that
Okay,
makes
okay.
sense.
Sounds about
That
right.
makes
All right,
sense.
I got my answer.
So yeah, we'll
Let's
watch
get outta
Iron Man 2.
here.
Dose.
Sweet.
So,
See Mickey work before he started looking like a weirdo.
That is 2, isn't it? Yep.
oh,
Lash.
Hey,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it then.
yeah, right. So, all right, cool guys. That was louder than I wanted it to be.
Oh,
Yep. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, all that blah 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 bullshit.
are you like in a rush?
Don't
today?
listen
What
to
the hell's
that
going
guy.
It's the ending, and no podcast has a really cool ending. They're always awkward and weird,
is
especially interview ones, like Minnesota goodbyes all across the world.
That's fine. We do Minnesota introductions. So,
on? We do a Minnesota conversation where we just veer off topic on random.
true.
True.
So, all right. Well, this has been a great episode. Welcome back to season 3, gentlemen.
Trace.
And you acolytes out there, thank you. And
I don't like this religious overtone together.
join us.
Tim's
Trying to-
working on
I'm
it.
working on it.
We're workshopping some
And
ideas.
I
here.
was Jason Chandler, to be clear, since you never.
I was like, yeah, we never really gave names. So this is Aaron
That's on
Banyan.
you guys. I gave you your window.
No, that's
Oh, you
true.
did.
I
said
cared
we
more
never
about
did
the
it.
content than my
Cared more
name.
about being number 0.
Yeah,
You did.
You did.
makes me feel
You're so
hollow.
All right. We'll catch us next week.
Fuck off.
Later.
Peace.
Hurt feelings make me laugh.
Mm-hmm.